So the first thing that I want to do is welcome our DM, Anna Amanzar, Deputy Mayor for Strategic Initiatives, who is now officially our co-chair of the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force. And so I wanted to have an opportunity to welcome her. And then I think what we had scheduled to do was let AT talk about this a little bit. Okay, great. So, but what I'm gonna do, and I'm like a little frazzled because we started a little late, but we're good and we're moving forward. So certainly did the welcome. We'll get to mission, vision, and context setting. You are gonna hear from a couple of folks before we do that. And then we'll talk a little bit about what the task force has been doing. And when I say what the task force is doing, it's like what we've all been doing because we are the task force. And so we'll hear from some of our colleagues across the room just about some of the work that's happened. I understand that it's been almost a year since we've gotten together, but a lot has been done. A lot has been done in the meantime, and so we're looking forward to sharing that with you. And since the task force has come over officially to DYCD, one of the bigger projects that we've been working on has been the Summer Safety Plan for 2025, and so we look forward to sharing and giving some highlights of that. There will be a call to action and ways that you can all get engaged. If you haven't heard from us yet, you'll hear from us, and we hope that you're engaged. And then we'll also talk about just some of our upcoming meeting dates and some next steps. So without further ado, I'm going to pass to DM Anna to give us some notes.
I don't think getting up makes much of a difference from someone my height, but I figure, although those in the front who are very tall are laughing, I see that. But is it true? No, it makes sense. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Commissioner Howard. When the proposal for us to move the Office of Neighborhood Safety and for it to come to the YCD, it was sort of a natural progression, not only for the office, but for the agency as well, to have such an important division of the work that we have been mandated to do. As all of us know, Mayor Adams has always put public safety as the cornerstone of his own mission when he was a police officer and wearing a vest for 35 plus years as a police officer, then running for state senate on public safety. Same when he was a board of president. Obviously, as a mayor, he has made that the vision of what he sees on how we can build a better city, and he understands that public safety and has insisted on us that we work on public safety as the prerequisite for prosperity, and I'm quoting him. And this is no different. Being named the co-chair of the task force is an honor, and I am privileged to be serving with all of you, along with Commissioner Howard and our co-chair, A.T. Mitchell, who unfortunately wasn't able to join us today in person, but he had made it so, given the importance of this work, that he's joining us via the internet. So we're very happy to have him. We're very happy to have you with us. We look forward to the conversation today and to the many topics that we'll discuss, specifically on the work, as Lamira mentioned, on how we plan to make this August the same as we did last August, making it the safest in years. We know that if we give our young people an opportunity to thrive, to work, and to engage in productive activities, they will do so, and that's the best way we can keep them safe. I want to thank you again for having me. I look forward to the conversation and for all the work that we do together. I told Commissioner Howard when we were first mentioned that I'll be the co-chair, I said, this is interesting. All the work that I do as a deputy mayor, working on gun violence prevention, which is a deep work, and from a girl who comes from Bushwick, before Bushwick was sugar-free Bushwick. Yes, I have a Bushwick girl here. Gun violence was something that permeated to the entire community, and for me to get to work in this particular task force, understanding how harmful gun violence had been to my own community is a dream come true. And I thank you all for having me, and have a great afternoon. And thanks. I think I pass the mic back to Luria. Thanks, Lumiria. And Lumiria is so nervous because we started later than expected, and the technology wasn't working. But this is how it happens when you do in-person meetings, right? And I prefer in-person meetings so we can see each other's faces and remember, oh, I was there when this topic was discussed, and here's how I plan to make my contribution after we made an in-person commitment to the work. So don't stress out, we're good. You got it, right? There we go. Yes, thanks, Lumiria.
Before we get into more of the meat, I want to pass the mic to Commissioner Howard to say a few words. I'm the MC. I'm from Harlem, and I know the MCs are really from the Bronx, but I'm trying it out today, and let me know how I do.
Now, you're right, MC's from the Bronx. Me being a Bronx native, of course. Now, just welcome to DYCD. I don't know if you've all been here before, but we've tried to create a very welcoming environment across the different floors and what we do here at DYCD. The Deputy Mayor, just not to repeat what she's saying, she's absolutely right. The Mayor's intention and initiative is, hey, let's do preventive work, because by the time that young person picks up a gun, we've already lost them. But this work is also systematic. It goes across agencies. And it's partnership with our nonprofit organization. And shout out to AT for his role as the gun czar, but not only that, but the co-chair of the Gun Violence Task Force. We've been doing amazing work just connected system-wide across agencies on the work that we're going to be doing and the work that we're going to be rolling out. We started to look at the data from last year with all of our Cure Violence partners, and looking at the data alone, 15,000 canvassing in the various different neighborhoods within 1 year, 15,000. Another 16 to 17,000 of mediations going on. And then, which this number just struck me, and I'm like, I can't believe that. At any given time, 1,800 young people within a given year, which means it can happen every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or every month. 1,800 young people are being touched by the Cure Violence groups. Those are phenomenal numbers. Now, we're trying to see, and this may not even be a thing, but we're trying to see how that ties into the reduction that we're seeing in the communities, the historic reduction. We know it is. We know that public safety is a shared responsibility with all of us. But how do we tie in the work that is being done by the Gun Violence Task Force, the Cure Violence Group, to say, hey, you know what? Let's give them a thing of acknowledgement, because when you prevent somebody from shooting, when you're doing mediation, that should also count for the work. So Lamira and her team, Darryl, Cliff, Karina, all the ONS team, trying to figure out where that connection is, along with you and what we're doing. So, again, I'm thankful for the Deputy Mayor and the Mayor for placing the Gun Violence Task Force in the DYCD. It makes sense. ONS makes sense. While we integrate into what the Mayor's safety blueprint is for public safety, because we know that SYEP is part of that, Summer Rising is part of that plan, and some of the partners that we have with public schools, we're all part of the same thread. ACS as well. So I'm glad we're here. Many more to come as we get to the work. How that? Good for Jones Kid, right?
As I was listening to Commissioner Howard, I also realized that MC stands for Microphone Commander. It's not a test. What song did that come from? But I guess whoever's commanding the mic is the MC at the moment, right? So, before we move into the mission and vision, and I'm not really sure how this is working, but AT, did you want to say anything?
A lot of already that's been said. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm like I said, I'm present virtually today alongside some of my other colleagues I see here. But I just wanted to welcome everybody to the first convening in a while. I am so super proud of this task force led by Lemuria and the team, and RT and others, and Chloe. And I'm so super happy of working alongside now my new co-chair, Deputy Mayor Amazon. I mean, it could not have asked for a better person to co-chair with. Her and her team, working closely with our commissioner of DYCD and their team, and it's just been an outstanding merge of events going forward. But like Lemuria has mentioned, there has been a lot of work that has still been going on throughout the time that we last met in person. A lot of the results that we are hearing from our New York City Police Department about the reduction in violence is a compliment to all of the work that we all are doing, the crisis management system, the community violence intervention organizations, and all of your agencies. I mean, our partnership with the New York City Public Schools is stellar. Our partnership with the ACS and so many other different city agencies that we work with collectively is because we all have been working in concert for the last 3 years is a testament to the reduction in violence that we are experiencing. But as we know it, we are now approaching the hot summer months, and so we want to make sure that we are better prepared to continue such success. And I'm excited to work alongside of you all, and I cannot wait to get the job, done by the time we finish this summer. But thank you, Lemuria and team, and all of everybody. I just cannot, be there in person, but I am with you all in spirit, and I'll see you all soon.
Thank you. So, while some things have changed, some things also remain the same. Our mission and our vision, and the mission and the vision for the task force remains the same, that all New Yorkers live in safe communities and are free from gun violence. That's the vision. It has been since day one and continues to be the vision. And the mission is to address the upstream causes of gun violence in impacted communities, to reduce shooting incidents, and ensure that children and their families, young adults, and formerly incarcerated New Yorkers have full access to the opportunities that help them thrive. It is a big charge, but I know we're up for it. And so thank you all for your buy-in. I'm not actually going to present this slide. I do want to take a moment just before we get to that and have members of the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force team stand up, introduce you real quickly. RT, Shafiqua, Chloe, Bisola, and Mercedes. Mercedes is a new member of the team that just joined us last week. And Mercedes is our data policy advisor. And I'm gonna have Mercedes come up and talk about the data. One of the things that we always want to do is make sure we're rooted in data before we dive into these conversations, not only so that we know where we've been, but we know where we are, and we also know where we want to get to, because that is absolutely part of the charge. So Mercedes, come on up, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, yes, thank you so much for joining us. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the data. And for this first slide, this slide reflects one of the most significant indicators of progress in the city's public safety landscape, the sustained decrease in shooting incidents across New York City over the past year. According to NYPD CompStat data, 2023 and early 2024 have shown one of the steepest year-over-year declines in shooting incidents in recent history. In fact, August 2024 was officially the safest August on record since the city began tracking this data. Brooklyn, in particular, saw its lowest numbers of shootings in over 30 years, which is a clear signal that long-term investments in community safety are beginning to yield results. Citywide, we've observed a double-digit percentage decrease in total shooting incidents from 2022 to 2023. Much of this progress correlates with the implementation of the Blueprint for Community Safety and the formation of the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force. However, these reductions are not felt evenly. Several priority precincts, including the 73rd and 75th in Brooklyn and the 44th in the Bronx, remain outliers with persistent or resurging levels of gun activity. The unevenness in data distribution signals a need for hyper-local targeting, where citywide reductions do not lead us to deprioritize areas with entrenched challenges. It reminds us that gun violence is both a public safety and a public health issue. And then the next slide. Thank you so much. So now, turning our attention to shooting victims, the data presents a more complex reality. While overall shooting incidents are trending downward, the number of individuals impacted by gun violence, those who are shot, is not declining at the same rate in certain areas. In fact, across the 6 priority precincts, the 73rd, the 75th, the 40th, the 42nd, 44th, and 47th, we've observed a slight but impactful increase in the number of shooting victims. This suggests that while there may be fewer incidents in total, those that do occur are more often severe or involve multiple victims. This uptick reaffirms the importance of disaggregating citywide progress and looking closely at neighborhood-level data to ensure interventions are equitably distributed and responsive to localized needs. It's imperative that we remember that these figures don't just represent numbers, they reflect a concentration of trauma and harm in specific communities. This is why the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force 7 strategy framework includes focused funding for trauma-informed care, housing, early intervention, and community vitality. Additionally, we're leveraging data from NYPD, the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, and community-based partners to triangulate shooting trends with service gaps, ensuring the investment is aligned to need and impact. Thank you so much. Sure, any questions on these 2 slides? Comment?
Really helpful. Could you repeat the precincts that are the ones that you, I don't remember how you call it, the ones that are still non-facing the priority precincts again?
Absolutely. So the 6 priority precincts are, well, yes.
The one of the...
So actually was the 73rd and 75th in Brooklyn and 44th in the Bronx. No problem. Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you.
I'm MC. I don't know who's moving this, but it's moving. No, it's great. I love it. It's like the voice of God. So this is wonderful. I think about it and it happens. So we're gonna go through some of what has been happening across the task force. There are a few members of different teams that are gonna come up and speak. And so first we have Karina, who's gonna talk about Alice, and then she'll just pass the mic to the other folks who are.
Mic check, 1, 2. The minute, just one quick shout out. One quick shout out.
So it's another MC over here.
Common face for all of you because he's been in every task force meeting, but new role. So Clifford LaRochelle is a new executive director for the Office of Neighborhood Safety. This is your first official task force meeting in that role.
Thank you. And I also want to note that Emily is still on the task force team, but she's on vacation this week.
Thank you. So, hello, I'm Karina Christensen. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of the Office of Neighborhood Safety at DYCD. And I will try not to gesticulate my hands wildly, like I often do as a Sicilian. Okay, so I get to speak on the Atlas Initiative, and I'm really excited to be able to start the part of our presentation today where we talk about solutions, and we talk about the incredible work that our community partners are doing to engage really hard to reach young people and also adults in safety and opportunity. So the Atlas Initiative aims to prevent violence and recidivism through therapeutic services offered in their neighborhood, completely voluntary. It's not an ATD or an ATI, but it does include some of the same types of therapeutic models that we often do see in a more ATI setting, like functional family therapy and cognitive behavioral interventions. The theme for fiscal year 25 has been partnerships, partnerships, partnerships. We've increased participation in our functional family therapy programs by 33% in the first 4 months of 2025, and that happens because of partnerships. So the teams on the ground, our partners at United Way, our team at DYCD and ONS has been really active in engaging our sister agencies and offices. That's ACS, New York City Public Schools, NYPD, the DA's offices, and really just expanding that reach because we want to be really proactive at making this offer to families to say, if you're in crisis, we have opportunities for you. We want to bring you in. We want to bring you in with credible clinicians who are able to provide a new direction for your family and sort of interrupt that moment of crisis.
And I would just note that 33% represents
555 families getting therapeutic services at a moment of crisis. So thank you also, because it's forums like this and it's the intentional working of our agency partners that give us that reach into systems and into communities to be able to reach those families. One other thing I can mention about Atlas this year, so Atlas is sort of an umbrella of therapeutic services and models and best practices in violence prevention, and they launched a new model based on Ready Chicago for adults. We have fewer services directed at adults in the violence prevention space because we know our young people are at such great risk for involvement in violence, but adults have needs too, and those needs are really specific. And so Atlas Hope is a 12-month therapeutic CDI and transitional job program for men at the highest risk of violence offered through Fortune. We just launched a couple months ago, and we have 95 participants in phase 1. So enormously exciting. And if anyone has any questions about that work with adult men in the Bronx, please come chat with me, and we can talk about just more partnerships, more referrals, recruitment, and reaching more people. And I'll hand off to my colleague.
Thanks, Karina. Thank you, Mary, and everybody. I have allergies, so bear with my voice. So I am here to talk about the DYCD workforce programs that have so very joyfully joined the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force in terms of how we move our programs forward. I'm going to switch up the order a little bit because I want to save a lot of space for cred, so I'm going to do SYEP first. We are about to enter the 4th summer of serving 100,000 young people through SYEP. And what's so exciting about that is that as we've been expanding year over year, being connected to the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force has really pushed us to think about how we are targeting those resources and where those slots really sit. And so I wanted to brag a little bit because as we've been really intentional about how we're getting young people, we've really seen those numbers move. So last summer, we had over 18,000 young people of the 100,000 enrolled from the 6 priority precincts. Almost 14,000 NYCHA residents enrolled, over 650 youth enrolled through our Cure Violence program, which is by far the most ever. When I started in this job, we were struggling to get to 250, so that's been really substantial for us. This summer, we're trying to really keep up that momentum and do more, so we've been really intentional, my team out in the community in partnership with ONS, and the Cornerstone team here at DYCD in NYCHA developments and Cornerstone community centers, making sure that we're recruiting young people from those communities, getting them in, and then once they're into the application of SYEP, we're trying to prioritize their access to the actual slots. So if you have a NYCHA address, we're kind of cutting you up the list in terms of how we're pulling you out of the lottery. There's a lot of different entry points for NYCHA map developments where young people in those communities get prioritized for slots as well. So we're continuing that work, and we really hope to continue to see those numbers of young people from the 6 targeted precincts grow. We have also absorbed in my team the Anti-Gun Violence Employment Program, which has been a real opportunity for us because for the first time we're really working deeply in partnership with ONS and the CMS providers to enroll young people in employment opportunities, sort of leveraging their expertise while adding our expertise in workforce development to what they can offer. So this is all things like how do you develop a job? What should that opportunity look like for a young person? We have over 1,000 kids planned to be enrolled over the summer and over 700 in our year-round program right now. And then finally, I really want to save space to talk about CRED. Daphne, let me get the acronym right. Community Resources for Employment and Development, a good old government acronym for all of you. But what this program is DYCD's first move towards serving young adults up to the age of 40. This is so exciting and important for us because for years and years and years we have heard that DYCD services for in the workforce space cut off at 24. And what happens once you're 24? You're just out on your own. And so this is a really DYCD style employment program, but that goes up to the age of 40. I'm also excited to say, have our very first full payroll for that program now. So the program is up and running. We have 8 providers in all 5 boroughs offering programs to, our goal is 500 participants this year, expanding to 1,000 next year, long-term goal of 2,000 per year. So this is a really ambitious expansion of the program. What's also special about this program is the participants get paid $20 an hour from the minute they walk in the door. So they're getting paid $20 an hour for orientation, for training. They're getting a paid internship out of the program. And then, of course, the ever-important connection to actual jobs, which thank you to Commissioner Howard for pushing us really hard to think about how we can put really ambitious goals into this program and push our providers to say, don't enroll a young person unless you have a job for them at the end, but figure out the job and then get the young person enrolled towards that job. So the programs, right now we have CDL licensing, construction programs, healthcare programs, tech, culinary. We're going to be looking to expand next year. But we're really excited about that program. It's something new for us, but I think it's going to be really impactful. So thank you to the task force for really trusting us with that. Those resources. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Margaret Nelson from Parks. So I'm just reporting on a couple of things for Community Vitality from Parks. So first of all, we launched in June of 2024, we launched Vital Parks for All, which is our vision for the park system of today and for the future to equitably deliver new park resources to underserved communities and equip New Yorkers with information to enjoy, celebrate, and support their parks. And the idea is that, parks and our park system are living infrastructure, just like we think of other infrastructure for the city, like roads or sewers, and that we need to invest in it and care for it and really think about for the future and make sure we're investing for all of our communities. As part of this Vital Parks for All initiative, we're making a $3.2 billion investment in both our aging infrastructure and to add new facilities and amenities to strengthen communities most in need. We have also developed a tool, which I encourage all of you to check out on our website, which takes our key Vital Parks elements, and anybody in the public can see both where they have access to these elements and also see where the gaps are and how well their community is served, by park enforcement patrol, by access to a playground, things like that. So the tool will equip New Yorkers with new ways to give parks feedback on the priorities for their communities as well. And then one of the other sub-strategic initiatives of Vital Parks is Stronger Parks, Safer Communities, which we're focusing specifically on the 6 gun violence prevention task force precincts, and we have $400 million invested in that in upstream investments, as we talked about earlier, which includes 31 capital projects in parks, including $160 million for the Brownsville Recreation Center, which I'll talk a little bit more about, and a new recreation center at Walter Gladwin Park in the Bronx. So moving on to Brownsville Recreation Center specifically, we had started a small capital project at the existing Brownsville Recreation Center, and then realized that we uncovered structural issues that really made us have to do a complete rethink, and we realized that the entire building needed to be completely reimagined and rebuilt. And I just want to thank the leaders of the task force for helping us get the $160 million we needed to advance this project. So that was funded in June. And it is a project that's going to be run by DDC as a design build, so we hope that will move through the process very quickly. In the meantime, we're hoping to secure some sort of temporary space if possible, in addition to a very small part of that recreation center that has remained open and will continue to remain open as we move forward. But again, it's small and it doesn't include a gym. So we really recognize the importance of the upstream investments and the important role that these recreation centers play in these communities, and so we're hoping to do as much as we can until we can get the new recreation center built and up and running. And then finally, Green Thumb Community Gardens, and we have some of our Green Thumb folks here in the back, I see. So there are 125 community gardens in the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force precincts, and I'm pleased to say over the past year, I believe it is, we've distributed about 35,000 plants, 4,000 seed packets, 650 bulbs, 2,500 sets of gardening materials to these community gardens to support the work they're doing in our communities, serving those larger communities. So thank you for the support on that.
We have Aaron Barnett from New York City Public Schools, who is online and presenting from there. Aaron, please unmute. Oh, there you go.
Thank you, Lemuria. And again, I do apologize that I can't be there to join the entire group today. But before I begin, I just want to say on behalf of New York City Public Schools, the Office of Safety Prevention Partnerships, as well as the Office of Safety and Youth Development, we thank all of the agencies that have been part of the task force over the past 3 years for your hard work and collaboration to impact the lives of young people. We look forward to our continued work and continued partnership. But for those that are not aware of the Project Pivot initiative, Project Pivot provides supplemental funding to our schools to engage community organizations that really support young people during a pivotal time in their development. We support students from elementary all the way up to high school. And our partners really come into the schools and provide services that the school typically might not be equipped to provide. And they look to engage those students that really are most in need of support. And so we give the funds to the schools, and they can pick whatever community partner they would like, provided that the service is in one of 7 areas. And those areas are safety and violence prevention and intervention, leadership and career readiness, mentoring, academic and attendance support, enrichment activities such as sports, recreational activities, and arts, as well as health and wellness. And so every year that we've been a part of the task force, and as long as Project Pivot has been in place, we've been able to increase the number of schools that we've been supporting. So year 1, we started out with 144 schools, and now I'm very proud to say here in year 3, we are supporting a total of 331 schools across New York City. And so, the schools really utilize the funds to the fullest extent to bring these organizations, and we've seen some really, really positive results as a result of the partnerships. And so among some of those community-based organizations, some of which might be in the room today, we want to mention, in particular those that have had impact within the 6th precinct area, Inspiring Minds, Elite Learners, our very own Man Up, Brooklyn Ballers, Wheelchairs Against Guns, are just a few amongst many organizations that really are designed, and many of which were started to really address some of the violence that we see amongst our young people. And so we know that really it's not so much that our young people are drawn to violence, but it's often because they have no positive alternatives. And so our community partners have been phenomenal in going into our schools and really providing that, providing those violence intervention and prevention techniques, mentoring, those career readiness programs that really give our young people positive options to pivot towards their success. The majority of the programming takes place after school, Saturday hours. Excuse me, did someone say something? No. During Saturday hours, and really it's been designed to really just, give young people those options to occupy their time. And so, like I mentioned, we are across every single borough in New York City, and although we engage 331 schools across New York City, within the 6th precinct area of the Blueprint Plan, we actually are supporting 104 schools. And so we are supporting 56 schools in the Bronx, 48 schools in Brooklyn, and across the districts in the Bronx, we are on District 7, 9, 11, 12, and in Brooklyn, 17, 19, and 23. And so if you wanted to know, well, what level of schools do we support? We are supporting 24 elementary schools within the catchment area, 24 middle schools, 40 high schools, 5 K to 8, and 11 secondary schools. So we really wanted to make sure that we covered as many schools as possible. And as a matter of fact, you know, we not only are doing our part in supporting the 104 schools, but this task force really has come together to ensure that services and supports are provided at every school within the catchment area. So although Pivot is responsible for supporting 104, our partners at DYCD through the Beacon Initiative, NYC Reads, which is another great program through the New York City Public Schools, we are ensuring through collaboration that every school within the catchment area is being supported. And so we've seen some tremendous results as that have come forth through these various partnerships. And so this year alone, we've seen a decrease in incidences at our schools, over 60% decrease. We've seen 80% decrease in suspensions. We've seen a 2.6 improvement in daily attendance of our young people at our 104 schools within the catchment area, as well as a 9.5 decrease in chronic absenteeism. And although those numbers are very impressive, they've been impressive at all of our schools. And so we were coming out of the pandemic and really making that pivot right towards the success, as I mentioned, that all of our young people that we know that we envision for them. But what we've seen in Project Pivot is even greater gains, right? So that 2.6 improvement in daily attendance that I mentioned to you, it is slightly higher than the improvements we've seen in schools across the entire city, as well as the decrease in chronic absenteeism. And so again, the formula that we know works is when we bring community into our schools to bring those credible messengers that we know have a shared lived experience of our young people, and we put the power into the hands of our schools and allow them to select a partner that fits the needs of their particular school community, that we have success. And so there is just one quick testimonial that I did want to share with the group before I open it up for any questions, and I think it speaks best to what Project Pivot is all about. And this comes from the principal of Young Writers Academy, one of the schools that is located within the 73rd precinct. And what the principal said about Project Pivot is this. She said, what I love about our work with Project Pivot is that because of the allocated funds, we are able to have elite learners, which is a phenomenal CMS group, with us every single day. On a daily basis, they are able to pick up the work that is often beyond the scope of school staff. For us, that has been safe passage support, gang prevention, mentorship, and working with our most vulnerable youth. That's what feels different about Project Pivot. And all I can say is please keep those funds and support coming. And so we have a number of testimonials that are similar from principals, superintendents, and students that really shows the impact. And so again, I'll open it up to any questions that anyone might have, but we look forward to our continued collaboration with the task force. And again, great work, everyone.
Hello, thank you for that. Wanda Ashrow, I'm the Assistant Commissioner for Community Centers. I'm happy to be here. You know, when Karina first started, she mentioned partnerships. Without the partnerships, we could not do half the stuff that we've been talking about in this space. So you're gonna hear two buzzwords really, and then the last one I'll throw in, but intentionality. All the work that you've been hearing, and also the work that you're gonna hear from me, has been done with a lot of intentionality so that we can be impactful in our communities. And again, our partnerships, without our resources, and I think, I'm biased. I work for the best agency because I have tons of resources at my disposal. I've been working very closely with Valerie and the workforce team to integrate workforce into our community centers. We've been working closely with the ONS team to bring in cure violence groups and integrate them into our community centers. So we've been very strategic and intentional around all of those pieces. So what we've seen at least a 30%, a little over 30% collectively across our Beacon and our Cornerstone programs. Our Beacons are school-based programs and our Cornerstones are center-based programs. But we've seen an increase in how they're accessing, in youth engagement, in how they're accessing our resources, how they're leveraging our resources, and also how they are connecting to other partnerships, not only at the agency level, but at the local level. I'm gonna speak a little bit about some of the special projects and events that we've had, because I think this is what connects young people, and this is why young people come to our space. They vote with their feet, right? So most recently, as recent as last week, spring break, we took 24 high school juniors and seniors from Marcy Cornerstone Community Center, which is precinct 79, and IS 219 Beacon, which is precinct 42, and we took them to an overnight college trip to Virginia University. That was amazing. First of all, we brought Brooklyn and the Bronx together. There was no rapping, there was no violence. It was fantastic. But what was so great for me was that these young people made relationships. They went on a scavenger hunt. We have tons of pictures we'll share at one point. They went on a scavenger hunt. They developed relationships. And I want to highlight that 2 of our participants received the Dean's Award letter on the spot, literally with their friends and the college and the band. They got an automatic acceptance to the college when they applied. One was a senior and one was a junior. So that was amazing to see, and just the experience, it gives me goosebumps. Prior to the trip though, what we did was financial literacy. We wanted to make sure we had the guardian and the young person come to DYCD for a financial literacy workshop to just learn the mechanics, and there was just so many questions. It was really, really good. A few weeks, again, partnerships, a few weeks ago at the Van Dyke Community Center, Precinct 73, we partnered with the Animal Care Centers and the Mayor's Office of Animal Welfare, and we provided free vaccines and microchips to all of their pets in the community. How cool is that? How many of us have pets? I know I have a pet. But we had 120 people come by and get their pets vaccinated, get their pets checked, and microchipped. I thought that was the coolest thing. We're hoping to expand on that. And our Sotomayor Community Center in the 43rd Precinct has been very active. They've seen a lot of families and community members coming through for meals. They've been doing a lot of food pantries. They've been hosting leadership ceremonies and getting these young people signed up for sororities and fraternities. And they've hosted basketball skills clinic in the evening. So we've seen a lot of young people coming in that way. Across all of our cornerstones, partners, we could not have done this without you guys. Working very closely with NYPD, we've seen a lot of police officers integrated into the fabric of our centers. So we're seeing NYPD career exploration, basketball games between officers and the agency staff. How cool is that? And then and NYPD supporting various events such as like food distribution. So that's been very good to see. And then again, these types of services have been intentional. So we've seen the success, and we've seen it based on how the kids are coming in and the feedback that we're hearing from the community. What I'm mostly looking forward to is continuing this work. We're expanding our fatherhood program. That's going to be an integral part of the fabric of our community centers, working with young parents, young dads, and really kind of making the connections between our Beacons and our Cornerstone programs. And then I am so looking forward to CRED, because we have a lot of those young adults in our space. They're always playing basketball, so if we can figure something out and get them jobs, that's a win. And that's all I have. I'm gonna pass it on over. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Hey everybody, so my name is Ray Singleton. I'm an assistant commissioner at ACS. I work with my colleague Elvita, who's joined me here today. We're going to talk a little bit about Fair Futures. If you haven't heard of the program and you know of it, then you know that the mayor has been very supportive of Fair Futures, even when he's the borough president. When we started the program, it was funded at about $8 million, and that was about 5 years ago. Today, it's baseline funding for $30 million. And we thought, you know, no better program than to integrate Fair Futures in with the GVPT task force, because this was a way to make sure that every young person was working with an adult that was caring for them and could connect them to services all across the city. So Fair Futures is a coaching program. What we do in Fair Futures is we connect young people to a professional coach. And that professional coach works with them in 3 different areas, around education, around housing, and then career readiness. And the goal is to make sure that we increase the number of young people in child welfare who are connected to a Fair Futures coach. And as long as we're increasing that number, we know that young people are engaged in activities. The more activities they're engaged in, the less likely they're going to be in these negative circumstances that pull them into gun violence. And so that's our aim through here. And the Fair Futures program now engages about 5,000 young people in total. 2 years ago, we had 1,500 young people who were connected to a coach. Now we have 2,800 young people connected to a coach. And so these young people move through the system. We make sure that the coaches are well informed about all the programs that happen across the city. So one of the things that we do is we host meetings with all the coaches and make sure that they're meeting with all of the providers in the SYEP program. So every year, I don't want to brag about this, but every year we lead the city in our enrollment in the SYEP program. So last year we had about 1,500 applications that turned into 1,200 enrollments. This year we have 16, and so we're looking to see more. And so that's a testimony about how we're, informing coaches and making sure that they're working with their caseload of young people to make sure that they're getting applications in, and they're working hard with the schools to make sure that if a young person puts the application in, they're getting all the supporting documentation to support it. And so that's just one of the things that we do across the board. We also work with young people to make sure that they get housing. So a lot of the young people who are discharged out of foster care are looking for housing, and they're looking for subsidies. So the coaches will work hard to make sure that they have a city fence voucher. So in addition to making sure that they're doing something over the summer, we're making sure that they get housing. And then finally, around careers, we do a lot of work to make sure that young people follow a career pathway program. And so we leverage almost every program at DYCD. Train and Earn, Advance and Earn, SYEP, like anything that has a career pathway focus, we're making sure that our young people are enrolled in. And the reason why is because they not only offer the stipends like CRED does, but it gives them vocational training. And we think for our young people, the best thing to do to prevent them from making mistakes is to get them involved in skilling up. And so a lot of you will realize if a young person is going to work, they're developing confidence. At least they're finding a way to say that I'm productive and I can be enrolled in something that someone's willing to pay me for, right? And so they'll get paid for their active involvement in being employed, and that's going to encourage them to skill up even more. Either they're going to go to school, continuing ed program, or they're just going to continue to find jobs, and we've had a number of success stories doing that. So one of the things I said I would do was share a particular story about a young person who took advantage of all the services that we have here. So I had a young man who was 18, he was juvenile justice involved, and he had called me one day while he was trying to pick up his son from his baby mama's house. And when he got there, the baby mama's boyfriend answered the door. And because they knew he had a violent past, the baby mama's boyfriend came with a gun. He also went to the door with a gun. And so immediately they called the police on him. And this had to be an Easter Sunday, 2 years ago. And so he started to run, and he called me while he was running. And he's like, Ray, I made a mistake, I got in an argument, and he's like, I think what's gonna happen to me if I go back to jail is the judge had told me if I come back before him again, he's gonna lock me away. And so he's like, I don't know what to do. So I was like, go home, right? And we immediately called the DA's office, who we got in touch with with some of our colleagues here. And so they put in a good word for him, and the judge said, as long as you continue to go through some of these advanced learning programs and training programs, I will allow you to continue to go through these programs and access. So this young man got a job. And now, ironically, he's working back at the foster care agency that he was a part of as a coach, right? And he's talking to other young people about some of the mistakes that he made. During this process, what was even better is that he had, walked down the street, and because he had the OSHA training, he had different kind of training, he looked at folks who were doing construction. He said, you guys never hired a black guy like me. He's like, I'm OSHA trained, I can operate a forklift, I've been, working on sites. And so the guy was like, okay, we'll give you a shot. Then he called me up and he's like, Ray, this is way too much work. He's like, this is way too laborious. You got to get me out of here, right? He's like, I'm in, but I want to get out. And so we kept working with him to find a job that would fit for him. And so he's doing really well now, right? And I think the most important part of that is that there's all these programs that he could benefit from. Fatherhood, right? So he had a genuine desire to see his son, even though he showed up with a gun and that was a bad idea. He was going to pick up his son to take him to church on Easter Sunday, right? And so, I think there's a lot of stigmas that happen when young folks are involved with juvenile justice, but these kind of opportunities and programs allow them to continue to move forward in a positive way. And they can always lean on a coach. So he was leaning on me. We were able to pull a coach in. We were able to pull this team in. We were able to offer him alternatives that got him into a really good scenario. And so he's still thriving, right? He's doing well. He's not going back to jail, and he's not picking up a gun. So that's all good, right? And we have one other scenario where we pulled a young woman in who was having concerns about domestic violence. And so again, we pulled the same team in. We talked to our colleagues in the New York City Police Department. They connected her with a family violence center within the New York City Police Department. They went and they visited her home, knocked on her door, made sure she was safe, made sure she enrolled for services. And then we kept providing a coach for her so that she could think about moving out of her housing that she was in. She had a city fetch voucher and move her into a safer neighborhood for her, right? So these are all the things that young people go to. We think once we connect them with a job, once we connect them to housing, that they're good. But young folks, they continue to need coaching, they continue to need resources, and they need other caring adults that are going to be able to wrap them up with the professional services that a lot of the adults are getting in the system. And so, we're really proud of the fact that we collaborate very well with other city agencies, and we're able to take advantage of all the programs that already exist. And just make sure that our coaches are informed, that we're connecting young people where it makes sense, and then continuing to follow up and give them a continuum of services throughout their development. So that's how we're using Fair Futures for this, and it's been working out really well. So we're really thankful to be a part of it. Glad that you asked me to tell you a little bit about us. And I'll turn it back over to the MCs.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maria Donato. I'm with HPD, Office of Neighborhood Strategies, and our Associate Commissioner couldn't make it today, Michael Sandler, but I will be sharing a brief update on the Brownsville plan. Glenmore Manor is under construction for 233 affordable homes for extremely low-income households, formerly homeless households, and low-income seniors. The space will include the Brownsville Entrepreneurial Hub, 20,000 square feet commercial and community facility space, and home to the Brooklyn Cooperative Federal Credit Union. Expected completion and lease up in the first half of 2026.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Jessica Vides Hernandez. I'm the Assistant Commissioner for Strategic Partnerships here at DYCD. Part of the task force. I'm very happy that they're here with us. We've been working together very closely. And I'm here to share information about our youth town halls that took place in 2023 and what we're doing to move forward. So in May and June of 2023, the task force engaged approximately 800 young people through youth town halls hosted by 21 schools across the 6 priority precincts. Young people in each school-led workshops and breakout rooms for 10 to 15 of their peers. They were supported by adult facilitators, many of the city agency volunteers that helped us throughout that time, and note takers, including the Department of Youth and Community Development, Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, NYPD, and the Crisis Management System, who co-sponsored and partnered with us, including also the Department of Education, Restorative Justice borough staff, and also New York City Public Schools. I do want to say an experience working with young people. We took an opportunity, a group of about, let's just say, I want to say like 10 young people per school. We trained them and told them we needed them to help us reach out to other young people so we can get their voice. And so the beauty about it is that in less than an hour, we stood there, told them exactly what we were planning to do. We told them what best way to do it, and they took it from there, and they charged not only themselves and their peers, but the entire school. And the beauty about these youth town halls is that the young people actually shared their feelings, their thoughts, and more importantly, was able to share with the mayor what they were thinking and what they needed to be better citizens here in New York City. So across the conversations, we heard young people identify their greatest concerns and areas of opportunities. They were consistent with learning from our earlier community engagement sessions. Two of the major themes we heard had to do with mental health support and the relationship between NYPD and the youth in their communities. They wanted improvement in that area. After the youth town halls, DYCD, we wanted to dive deeper into engaging young people, and we conducted focus groups, 9 focus groups and 2 interviews within the 6 priority precincts, and also other focus groups conducted with NYPD. So as we move forward, DYCD is planning on hosting a series of focus groups across specific precincts in New York City that are not currently our Gun Violence Prevention Task Force priority precincts, but has higher numbers of gun violence. So the work has not finished. We need to continue where we left off. The focus groups will focus on listening to middle and high school students' quality of life concerns, including public safety, mental health, and other issues that they will bring up. The focus groups are intended to inform whether a broader town hall plan should be implemented to hear from youth. We know youth town halls definitely shared information, and we want to continue using that approach. Through this process, DYCD will gain a deeper understanding of what concerns are important to youth with their respective neighborhoods and determine the best path forward to ensure youth voice is heard by New York City local government officials. So I'll pass it on to Artie, and she's going to share a little bit more.
Good afternoon, everyone. So part of the youth town halls, one of the major things that we heard at that time was youth wanting to have a better and more respectful relationship with NYPD police officers. And it was a direct charge from our mayor at the time for DYCD to take the lead and collaborate with the different agency partners. So over the past about 2 years, a special team from the mayor's office, DYCD, NYPD, People's Police Academy came together to think about a way of developing a curriculum that would build the respect between NYPD and young people. Before I continue, I want to give a special shout out to Deputy Inspector Brian Eng for being here and all your partnership throughout this process and your group's partnership from Collaborative Policing. A lot of this wouldn't have been done without you all, so thank you. So what we did is that we looked at the three past trainings at PPA, People's Police Academy, and different curriculums at NYPD. We also looked at the focus groups that were done, the 9 focus groups and interviews within each precinct that DYCD led. And also we conducted a focus group with NYPD. Took all that information, we worked with a curriculum writer from Osborne Association to develop and redesign a new training curriculum for NYPD officers and how they could respectfully engage and build trust with young people in their communities that they serve. The goal is to highlight the importance and benefits of building trust between law enforcement and young people, explore trauma-informed approaches to recognize the impact of trauma on youth, and learn practical healing center strategies for engagement. Develop communications and de-escalation skills to equip officers with techniques to handle interactions calmly and respectfully. And also to identify strategies on how to foster intergenerational connections and strategies for meaningful relationships with young people and their families. So that's a lot to do in a one training. So there's many different iterations of how we plan for this training to be done. It could be a one day, it could be part of the police academy, it could be part of Foot Patrol as 15-minute interviews or 15-minute videos. But we are currently just waiting for NYPD approval, and once we get the green light, we're ready to start with piloting with our youth coordinating officers within the 6 precincts. So now I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Shafiqua to talk about Everytown for Gun Safety.
Thanks, Artie. Hello, everybody. So this past year, we've been doing a couple of special projects, and 2 that I'm going to speak about this afternoon are Everytown for Gun Safety, which is an organization that we partnered with started last year to really focus on capacity building with some of our organizations in the Bronx. Karina from ONS actually helped us get connected with some of these organizations that we ended up partnering with. So we did a needs assessment all last year where we really dived in to get to know these 6 organizations, understand what they need, what their needs were, what their strengths were, and what their challenges were. And now we are, well, as of April 2nd, we launched the Capacity Building Program in partnership with LISC and Everytown for Gun Safety. And this will run until the end of May, where we're going to focus on really tailored approaches to learning more about grants, because a lot of these organizations need to understand grant writing, governance structures. A lot of them are small and they need to figure out how to build out their governance structure and what that actually looks like, fundraising so that they can figure out other ways to get dollars besides city funding, and as well as wellness. Wellness is something that we realize most of these organizations need, so we're happy that we're going to be giving them a 2-day wellness seminar where they're going to learn coping strategies, because most of them are working with young people in the Bronx who are involved in the criminal justice system. And the thing that these organizations really need is money. So Everytown was able to give them a $1,000 grant for participating in this training program. And Edenwald, this was a project that I worked very closely with for the last year. And as you can see, the commissioner was there on ribbon cutting day, and so was DM Almazar, the Bronx Borough president, and a couple of other officials. We were able to do this partnership with AT&T. So AT&T has a connective learning lab, and between AT&T and DYCD funding, we were able to open up the first computer lab in the Bronx under the NYC Computer Lab Initiative. The initiative is set to open up 300 computer labs before the end of 2026 in underrepresented neighborhoods, and this was the first one in the Bronx. So we were really proud of this, and the computer lab has now been open since late November, and it's offering STEM courses twice a week. It's offering GED prep. It's offering intro to computers, because many of the NYCHA residents expressed to us how they needed just intro to computers, like learning how to set up a Gmail, learning how to access the internet, learning how to get the internet connected to their phone. So we're really proud of this. And I think I'm gonna pass it over to Basona now. Yes. Oh, good. Hold on, one quick transition.
Thank you. So I just want to, collectively say thank you. This is kind of our retrospective of a lot of work that we've done individually and collectively, and some of the case studies and work have not been just the face of the people who are up here, but really it has been a collective, and so I just want to appreciate everybody for all that you have done to make us look great collectively, but also just say that this work really is work that we do together. No one person represents it, no one person gets it done alone, and so what we've seen and really some of the successes that people have just talked about is work that we've done collectively. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Bisona Amy, and I'm an Urban Fellow with the Task Force, and I'm going to be speaking a little bit about our Biweekly Action Spotlight meetings. So on a bi-weekly basis, Wednesdays 11, the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force hosts meetings for the purpose of bringing awareness to agencies and their work regarding 1 or 2 gun violence prevention task force actions within their portfolios. So with these meetings, we hope to foster collaboration amongst all the agencies within the task force and really find ways to support that work. So thank you so much to all our agency partners, y'all. We have Parks, Public Schools, DYCD of course, Mayor's Office of Community and Mental Health, Small Business Services, Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Department of Social Services, Mayor's Office of Talent and Workforce Development, NYC Probation, Department of Transportation, and then Department for the Aging. So thank you so much again. And then if you haven't already signed up and are wanting to present at one of these meetings, please reach out and we will send that link for you to formally sign up. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to give Miles and Ray a shout out. You guys are very active on our bi-weekly spotlight meetings, so we appreciate it. We do. So the Neighborhood Safety Councils is really our community approach to this whole gun violence prevention task force, right? So we really believe that public safety can be achieved with the community at the forefront and government support and community. So this is what we're going to launch. We actually closed the RFP. It was actually a negotiated acquisition. I don't know if y'all all know those. Okay, great. So we closed that last Friday. We got several proposals, and we're very excited to launch this summer. We want to thank all of you who were able to send this to some of your partner organizations. We're going to be starting reviewing those proposals this week and next week, and hopefully kick the NSCs off starting in early August. And RT, right?
Thank you. So, I think AT and some folks at the beginning of the meeting talked about we're getting into warmer months. Warmer months means that kids are idle and we need to do something. We know the data, we see it every year. It's a time where things are truly hot, right? And we need to do as much as possible to ensure our young people and our communities are safe during that time. So last year, some of the stats is that DYCD did their summer safety plan, where they expanded hours in 19 sites, 51 additional beacon hours, 10 additional cornerstone, 9 CMS providers supported, and 5,165 instances of attendance. So this year, our 2025 Summer Safety Plan aims to engage with community members to expand programming in 13 identified precincts, offering a safe space through structured programming and training through the summer months. Again, special shout out to our partners at NYPD and Collaborative Policing. Thank you for sharing your data. We ensured that we looked at data for the past 5 years, along with the data from NYPD, to really think about where should we designate our resources. So during this time, we're going to be engaging with our providers, again at Cornerstone, Beacon programs, and Saturday Night Lights from Monday, July 7th to August 24th. This plan, we have precincts from the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Manhattan, and again, they were based off of the data recommendations from NYPD Control Strategies and DYCD DEI unit. So I'm going to read off the list. Trust me, you all are going to get many emails from me with the list of all the providers, but the list of our precincts are going to be in the Bronx, so the 40th, 42nd, 44th, 42nd, 47th, 73rd, 75, 46, 77, 67, 32, 23, 120 in Staten Island, and again in the 34th precinct. We looked across where it made sense for us to invest our time. So before we get started, before I continue, I just wanted to also take a moment, thank all of you for your participation, particularly in the past year. You all came to our strategy sessions, you were part of our bi-weekly sessions, and because of this type of partnership, we were able to think and be informed about your programmatic data, where it's happening, your staff time, your resources, and really strengthen the partnerships across all strategies. I really think the Summer Safety Plan is going to be an opportunity to use that data, relationships fostered through our sessions, to inform our approach and to have real-time decision-making with our Summer Safety Plan. So our engagement plan is to facilitate stakeholder planning and coordination meetings with our DYCD staff, relevant agency partners, our community partners, to really build a more sustainable partnership within each of those precincts. We're also going to be strengthening our partnerships between the CMS organizations, along with the providers that we're working with, and coordinate with you all with budget neutral. So we all know you all are ready in communities, that you're doing this work, but we want to inform that if a young person comes in and they need something for their grandma, if they need something for their sister who may be a little bit younger or older, we know where their resources are within that precinct. So your agency participation is essential to align our efforts across government and community partners. We want agencies to work in sync to ensure a seamless delivery of services, and that directly reduces gun violence and make public spaces safer during a high-risk time of the summer months. So again, thank you for your coordination and your partnership throughout this time. You'll be hearing from us. And if you have any ideas of how maybe some of your organizations or some of your partners, or you need a space within one of our DYCD centers, we can think about how you can collaborate with us. I'll pass it back over to Lemuria.
Could you go over the precinct one more time?
Sure. So the precincts again are the 40th, 42nd, 44th, and 47th. That's in the Bronx. In Brooklyn, we have the 73rd, 75th, and the 67th. And then we also have the 77th. Yes. And then in Manhattan, we have the 32, 23, and 34. Commissioner, you've got that list, don't worry. And our special partner in Staten Island, 120.
And we'll be sure to send these out to everyone, and we'll be bugging you about being a part of the summer safety plan. So that was a lot. That was a lot. We feel good about it. We're charged up. So just in terms of next steps, as Artie said, we are going to be in touch just around our engagement and planning for the summer safety plan, and really activating also Gun Violence Awareness Month, which is the month of June. This year we are working, I would say, alongside the CMS system to do a couple of activations, and so really letting them take the lead, but also really wanting to support them. I think some of our job as government is to help build capacity of community-based organizations to really do the work. And so with Gun Violence Awareness Month, that is exactly what we're doing. And so we're excited about that. And you'll hear more from us as the plans get more solidified. We also, as Shafiqua noted, are going to kick off the neighborhood safety councils and the 6 gun violence prevention task force communities. The procurement just ended. There's a goal to start that work on August 1st. And I know we've had a couple of starts and stops in the past as it relates to the gun violence prevention, as it relates to the neighborhood safety councils. And so we absolutely want to make sure agencies are activated and involved, if not at the central level, kind of near City Hall, then certainly at the local level, as agencies we know do work in the communities as well. We also are working towards a partnership, I'm sure if anyone's watched the news over the past couple of weeks, our commercial corridors are having a challenge with young people. Some businesses have decided not to allow people under 18 into their businesses. And so one of the things that we're working on is cultivating a relationship between... Oh, but I got work to do, I know. So what we want to do is really engage the crisis management system in supporting some of the public safety efforts across commercial corridors. And so those are relationships that we're helping to facilitate, partnerships that we're really helping to bring together. And so that work is ongoing, but to the extent that other agencies should be or need to be a part of that conversation, we certainly want to make sure we're engaging you. And then the last piece is really around, well, youth focus groups, I'm sorry. I think RT Jessica mentioned that we're going to do a series of youth focus groups. The one thing I do want to note is that here at DYCD, we have an Office of Mental Health Supports. And really kind of the work of that office is what came out of the first round of youth town halls, and many of you were involved there. And so we are focused on precincts that are just outside of the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force focused precincts. But one thing we know about violence, like it doesn't have a home, right? And so it does move around. And so while we're focusing all these efforts in these 6 precincts, we want to make sure we're also giving some attention and also aware of what our young people are experiencing and concerned about in those precincts. And so that work actually is really kicking off this week. And our next task force meeting, I know we had to reschedule the March meeting, and so we're having one a month later, which means we get together next month again. And so one of the exciting things about that is that we're trying to really get back on track with our quarterly meetings. But also as we move into summer, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And so I believe within the month, we will have some very significant updates to share as it relates to the summer safety plan, outcomes from the youth focus groups, and really start to think about what our work in fiscal year 26 looks like. And so that's a lot of what we'll focus on then. From there, we'll, do what we all have to do over the summer to refresh, but also it's a high programming time, and so we'll reconvene in September and then close out the calendar year with a meeting in November. And then in the meantime, I know we have paused our strategy meetings, but as we really plan for the summer safety plan, there will be another iteration of those kinds of engagements that come together, because we want to make sure in real time we're looking at not just tracking attendance, but that these strategies and these interventions and these programs actually make a difference, and we're seeing the results that we want to see in real time. So there will be some engagement that happens over the summer, certainly with those who are involved in the summer safety plan. Checking in. If not, if there's nothing else, team, are we good? We good? Did I? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. And we are officially adjourned.
Right.